Michael, you've been on this Minnesota bandwagon all season. This was an impressive win today. They were down 20-0 at halftime. A little stat for you. Teams in the last 5 years down 20-0 or down 20 points or more at half. 0-99 before they came back today. So the first team in 100 tries to come back.
1-99 right now.
Exactly, from 20 points down at half.
I think it shows a lot about this team, because this team has had a lot of pressure on them, because the expectations were high going into this season when they brought in Kirk Cousins, a lot of high expectations on him. And at some point in the season, they said, let the guy throw the ball. You started this game out, and you said, here we go with the Vikings. Tony said in the pregame show, the most talented team, the top, the bottom of the roster. They didn't show that early, but what they did show today is that this is a team that has the potential to get through tough situations, to pull out these big wins when they need them. Kirk Cousins steps up when you needed him to, 3 touchdowns today. And this did not look good starting out, but the defense came through at the end of the game today to really seal this deal. So I think that this is one of those wins that helps you later in the season when you're in a tough game where you know, hey, we always got a chance to pull it out. They'll fall back on this.
They're like
today.
Dallas. They can run the football with a great back, Ezekiel Elliott. They got Cook in Minnesota. And today, Tony, they didn't need Cook because they do what they do best, which is throw.
And we got to remember that they didn't have Thielen there. Adam Thielen, when he's there, that offense gets even better. Going into a bye week now, coming off playing Seattle out of that, they got 3 primetime games left. Kirk Cousins, they say, doesn't play well in primetime. He did well against Dallas last week. This is a team that I get excited about that could go the distance.
Howie, what about the AFC team in purple? The Baltimore Ravens, and, you know, they beat the Patriots, and we were like, okay, yeah, they played well. They do this to Houston, another good team. I mean, is it time to start talking about them maybe as the best team in the AFC?
Yeah, and I think part of it is obviously Lamar's talent. It's the uniqueness of their offense. It's what they do and how do you defense it. What kind of a package do you put on the field as a defense when they go 2-3 tight ends? Do you put your big package out there and then they throw the football? Lamar had 4 touchdown passes today. Sure, he ran for 86 yards, and it's not a blow you away stat in terms of throwing the football, but they're so unique in what they do, and he's so talented. Yeah, but
but it's a very lopsided. They ran for 263 yards. They only passed for 228.
Yeah.
Most of the time, but I'm saying it's lopsided. Most teams, if passing is your bread and butter, but when you run the ball the way they do, you control the clock.
Who's going to figure this out?
You control the tempo of the game.
That's the point. Who's going to figure this out? You were thinking, well, you know, Bill Belichick will have an answer for this.
I can't.
You can figure it out. Maybe schematically you can come up with an idea, but you better have the players.
You still got to stop.
Right.
You got to have the players, Jack. You got to have, the way I look at it, you better have speed on defense to match these guys.
What about their defense?
But what happens when they come on 2-3 tight ends?
Yeah.
Well, then that's not fair, Howie.
I know.
Hey, because the thing is, if you look at the way Mark Ingram runs, physicality of the way they
He's a
play
great pickup.
on offense and defense, they have a physicality that most teams don't have on both sides.
The Ravens draft a type of player, and they've been doing it for years.
Yeah. Hey, you know,
Tough.
Tony, the Dallas Cowboys, who are they?
Right now, I think if you look at Dallas, it's a tough question because, you know, at the beginning of the season, you're saying, is it Zeke's show? Is the game goes through Zeke on the offensive side of the ball? I think that has shifted now. Right now, after today's game, looking at it and the way Dak played last week in a loss, even though he played really, really well, Dak Prescott came out today and played outstanding, 444 yards passing, making good decisions. They would like to get their running game going, but that running game is going to be there no matter what. They got a great offensive line, but if Dak Prescott can play like this, I like this team. I think they have a pretty good defense. I think once Zeke gets going, they can take it the distance. They're another one of those teams that is scary. But right now, if you ask me that question, their identity is Dak Prescott.
They're throwing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go,
Mike,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
TB.
Go ahead.
No, I want to listen to you.
No.
Your words are more important.
They're throwing the football. In the last 2 games, they throw. And it seems like, you know, I've said it well, and Cook, if they can't run it, they can still throw it in Minnesota. If they can't run it in Dallas, they can still throw it in Dallas. But I've still got to go back to something that we said on the pregame show, is the fact that they're supposed to beat Detroit, right? Mm-hmm. They're supposed to beat Detroit. Mm-hmm. Detroit is minus Matthew Stafford.
Not supposed to be this close.
Right. Exactly. Driscoll comes in, puts, 27 on him? If Stafford plays, what happens? Because Stafford's having a great year.
Which equals what their record was coming into today.
Yeah.
It's 6-5.
6-4 now.
6-4. Mm-hmm.
Let's see what they do now. They got Philadelphia. Let's see how they play against the other team so we can stop saying, oh, you're supposed to beat Detroit. Or let's see what happens when you play Philly.
You basically said the same thing I was going to
Yeah.
say. And they play down to the level of their competition. I got it right. Got it right this time.
Guys, I'm going to go back here, Howie, to the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons play 6 of their final 8 games in division. They're probably not going to catch New Orleans, who's running away with it right now. And New Orleans got back on track today. But it's going to be interesting to watch this division down the stretch.
What's the number to get to the wild card in the NFC? Probably 10?
Yeah, I would think so.
Well,
Yeah.
the most they can
9,
do is 9,
maybe.
so maybe 9
Right.
or 10. Yeah.
So they've got a shot. We were talking about it. What they've done over the last 2 weeks is mind-boggling. I mean, a defense that couldn't generate a pass rush. They make the switch at defense coordinator. They switch multiple coaches in multiple positions, unprecedented in my time in the NFL, where you literally said, you're going to coach the linebackers now, you're going to coach the DBs, you're going to coach the wide receivers, and this is what you get. You've had touches of the offense being dominant and looking like Atlanta and looking like Matt Ryan, but the defense has been the biggest key over the last 2 weeks, shocking the turnaround.
And both games on the road.
You know what it seems like? You remember when you're a player and they change the coach, or they change the head coach, then they change the position coach, then they change this and they change that. And then you realize, then you realize the next person to be changed is the player. You're like, oh, I like my job, and you step it up. That's what it looks like. We tried everything to get this team together.
I wonder what the conversation was, Mike, in the group meeting when Dan Quinn gets up in front of the team and says, here's what we're doing.
Well, you got 2 ways to do it. You got either players, and it depends on the character of the team, that are going to say, oh, this season's a wash, we're done. Just throw their hands up.
That's easy.
Or you got players who go, hey, okay, this is what it takes to try to make a change to see if we can get it done. I'm all in. It looks like this team has bought their all in, and that's why they had the results they've had. But the defense has just turned around. The offense is explosive now. They didn't do those things.
Yeah, Tony, you played in Atlanta. I mean, honest to goodness, isn't that for a coach just to change the whole staff up? What does that do?
I was saying, you got to think about what Dan Quinn was going through. Being 1-6, it's like, okay, he's on the hot seat. 1-7. He might get fired in the middle of the season. People were saying that. It's like one of those things. I guess that's where you do say, all right, well, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that.
But he's made
what happens.
He's made changes at coordinator.
He changed all
the
3
last 2
coordinators
years.
in the offseason, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And that was after changing defensive coordinator.
I got to tell you, I got a phone call from him for special teams coach, and I turned it down.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Hey, all right, look, I said they're not going to catch the Saints. You take a look at this.
You are special.
I don't know what special team
You are
it was.
special, I will tell you that.
The Saints get back to their winning ways. They had won 6 in a row. They had that stumble against the Falcons last week. We see Atlanta maybe is better than we thought they were. But also, do you feel
Atlanta
now...
looks like who we thought they were.
Right, we thought they were at the beginning of the season. Do you think New Orleans is back to being who we thought they were, and last week was just, one of those
Everybody's
weeks?
had a hiccup. Everybody. I think there's been every team in the league has had a speed bump for the most part.
Yeah.
And we've looked at and said, how did they lose that game?
I think, you look at it right now, we're right there at the 10-game mark. And this is where you can sit down and say, here's the group. I just wrote down Vikings, 49ers, Seattle, Dallas, New Orleans, Green Bay. We're talking about Atlanta getting in. They got to get by all these guys. Right. These guys have to fall on their face.
San Francisco had the hiccup last week, but
Green Bay had a hiccup.
But it was
That's Howie. That's pecan by Howie.
It was with over 100 yards and drops. They had multiple players out of the game. It was a close game. They had an opportunity to win it. New Orleans last week, that was
home.
Yes,
at home. Yeah.
At home. You were kind of taken aback by it, and you couldn't understand it. Michael Thomas has been amazing. Week in and week out, he seems like a guy that, for whatever reason, he's always open.
Yeah, crazy.
And I understand that, Sean Payton is a great designer of offense and getting this guy his opportunities in space and all that. Somebody else needs to step up in that receiving corps.
Whoa. This is where you're wrong.
You're going Kamara.
Yeah.
They have weapons at every position, and formations dictate coverages. He knows that. And you can put Thomas in the slot outside, flip him over, put him in motion.
Gotcha.
Okay, you can. these other people get him open. And Drew Brees is so smart. There'll be a time when actually he's not going to be a part of the program. You're going to see the other guys step. This offense isn't just circled around him.
Yeah. No, it's Kamara, and and Cook has a touchdown today. Great.
Yeah.
And he should. In the red zone, that should be a great threat for them.
You take a look at this.
How do you get rid of hiccups?
You look at that Saints schedule here. They're 8-2 right now. The only team with a better record in the NFC is 8-1 San Francisco. We showed you the schedule. Only 2 teams above 500 the rest of the way for New Orleans.
Going woolly booger.
So they still have a chance. All right, let's get to final thoughts for the day, starting with you, Tony, going around the horn.
Oh, first, all right. I'm going to take.
Get ready.
That's great. I didn't know you guys were going. You know what? I'm going to piggyback because I'm looking at Lamar Jackson, front runner for the MVP. That Baltimore team, they got an unbelievable defense right now. If I'm looking in the AFC, to me, they're the best team in the AFC right now, just plain and simple. But one thing I do have a concern on is Lamar Jackson running the football. He had 86 yards again. He's so skinny. I don't know about you guys, but I get a little scared when he takes it.
See the neck on
Yeah,
him?
His little body, he's so skinny.
He looks like one of those linebackers that's signed to Texas.
Yes, but it's like a Ferrari going around a track, and you're like, okay, can he really? I don't want him to burn out because I want to see this through.
Yeah,
I think they can
Tony,
play really
well. We said the same thing when we saw you play in Atlanta and we were down there. I mean, you're no big, powerful body guy yourself.
I'm huge. Have you seen I got
No,
trucks.
I've seen you in shorts. No, not impressed.
This
not
kid,
impressed.
he's so skinny, he can hula hoop through a Cheerio, man. I'm telling you, he is somebody that needs to. I want him to gain a little bit of weight, but I love him. That's my final thought. I think he's going to get the MVP, and that's a great football team.
How do you throw a hula hoop through a Cheerio?
He's so
How do you hula hoop with a Cheerio?
Because he's so skinny. He's so skinny. He could hula hoop through a Cheerio. Stay with me, America. I know you.
Ego has no amigo. That's all I know. That's my favorite. But that's second, the hula hoop to a Cheerio. The biggest thing, Minnesota, big comeback for this team. This is the team that all season long, waiting to see what they can do. Started off not so good, coming back in that big playoff push. And they go out and they are so far down, and they have that comeback on the back of Kirk Cousins, on the back of a great defense. I think only lends itself for this team when it comes crunch time, in playoff time, because I do expect them to be there, that this team is going to step up, and I think it's proud of a lot of people. Tony said in the pregame show, the best team, one of the best teams top to bottom. I tend to agree with that, and I've been saying it as well for a few more weeks. It's not going to be easy going against New Orleans and these other teams, but I think they're built to win.
Well, and they've had expectations. I mean, like New Orleans. New Orleans gets to 8-2, bounce back after a disastrous week last week.
A hiccup.
And the reason why it's key, it's a hiccup. The reason why it's key is San Francisco right now is down 9-0 versus Arizona. They stumbled last week in a close-fought game, but they're in pace now. They're continuing to stay in pace for potentially hosting the NFC Championship game again.
You look at Baltimore taking care of Houston, a threat we thought in the AFC. That was a serious win for them.
Who they're
You look at Seattle going on the road and beating San Francisco. That is a serious win. Good football teams playing good football teams on the road and winning. To me, that opens up my eyes. The team that's kind of scary, and I know we've all seen this, is Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, we can see the big picture.
Scary
but here comes the guys that we thought were going to be really good, and now they're going to start knocking some people off and knocking them out of contention for the wild card and getting in there. Atlanta
Still got a long way to go to get there.
I know they do.
I think the thing is, I agree with you.
Well, it's not the getting there. It's if they're on your schedule and you're in
It's
playoff
not an easy
contention,
win anymore.
they could knock you off.
Yeah, and it's good for Dan Quinn. He's one of the good guys in this league. It was all falling apart for them through 8 games. They've kind of regrouped here, 1-2 in a row. We'll see where they go the rest of the season, but it's good to see that happen here. All right, Thursday night, you can catch more football as Michael, Terry, and Tony get you ready for the big Thursday night game between the Colts and Texans.